So I am playing the Venetian today. It's a $400 buy-in tournament. And about 2 hours ago, I was just feeling really wiped out and tired. I didn't really feel like playing anymore, and I, kind of gifted about half my stack to some guy. And then my girlfriend gave me a text and said, "Hey, good news. One of my friends has a birthday party tonight. So if you get busted out, you can go." And as much as I love her and her friends, I really do. I can't take it tonight. I can't do that. So, redoubled my efforts, and now I'm doing pretty good and playing like my world depends on it, because it kind of does. At least my eardrums do. And I mean, what? Most of the time, I would say most of the time of the year, I am really, so down to go to a bar and hang out with a lot of, loud, drunk, awesome, funny strippers. Tonight, that is not what I want to do, So I have to hold on, and I have to play really hard. And motivations, man, motivations. We'll see how it goes. I just went all in about 5 times, thinking that I'd be able to pick it up without having to fade, and that's what happened. Anyway, wish me luck.
No, open yet. No, it's okay. Not yet, sir. Oh. We still have a chip.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I made a dinner break, feeling pretty good about it. I don't have to go to the birthday party, and I'm going through my little dinner break ritual, getting a chicken Caesar salad over here at San Gennaro's in the food court, about 7 steps away from the poker room. One thing that I feel like I've really worked on that's improved my game is the dinner ritual. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that players make, is they go out, they feel like they can reward themselves with a burger or a hot dog or, something kind of high fatty. I'll tell you guys, this is a big mistake. You just watch. The level right after dinner break is the bloodiest level of every tournament I've been in. It's just like you sit down and you wait and you just listen. Seat open, seat open, seat open. Why is that? Well, it's not just, there's actually a reason. It's a scientific reason. It's because when you eat fatty food, your body takes energy to process, and then studies have shown that eating, a fatty dinner is going to reduce your mental capacity by about 20%. 20%. So stick with this salad. One thing Huxeed once told me was, sometimes I play the best when I feel hungry. And he didn't mean it like in a psychological way, he meant it in a literal way. I don't know that I think that I would recommend just starving yourself and going on a fast, but when you're going on dinner break, you really need to think hard about what kind of mindset you want to be when you get back to playing. And as for me, a chicken Caesar salad does the trick. I could probably even not do the chicken. That's probably taking a few dollars out of my pocket tonight. But we've got a lot of chips. 129, 130,000, average is 70, and that's kind of boosted up by the big stacks. So, when you're looking at the dead center, we're about 36, 35 players left. Just lost a pretty good opportunity to crack one of the shorties who shoved for about 30,000. He had ace-4 offsuit, I had ace-8 of hearts and called in the big blind. We ended up chopping the pot, so it could have gone a lot worse, but could have gone a lot better too. Anyway, 130,000, I'm pretty happy with that. Dinner calls, so wish me luck.
Just stay right here with me. Love is not fixing, but
Here I am in the Venetian Uber pickup. Stone Cold Bubble Boy. What just happened? What just happened? This was crazy. So we're down to, I guess we're down to about 25 people, and I've got about 3 times average stack, so I've got a pretty massive chip lead at this point. Ended up, yeah, just things started going south. I started just doubling up short stacks. These guys just have no fear, you know, of busting out right around the bubble. And so I kept on taking flips and, you know, kept on applying the pressure. Doubled up a short stack, doubled up a short stack, doubled up a short stack. And so now I'm back to, you know, maybe like 1.5x average. We get down to 2 tables, so 20 people. I'm just kind of chilling out. I'm looking at the blind, you know, an ante ratio. It's about 4 to 1. In about 30 minutes, it's going to be 3 to 1. I'm thinking, okay, so I'll just play tight for about an orbit and a half. Get down to about 18, 17, and then it's time to turn it on. Turn on that lag, turn up the aggression. It's actually a really good table for me. You got, you know, 3 really short stacks to my left, a couple of bigger stacks to my right. The biggest stack at our table, you know, I'd only seen him play 2 hands all day, and it was aces and queens. So I wasn't really too worried about, you know, getting into a spot against him. And the plan pretty much worked. You know, I picked up the spots, you know, that I could. I wasn't just folding my way to the next level. But for the most part, just staying out of, you know, staying out of most of the pots, kind of just picking on a couple of big blinds here and there when it looked like it would get through. And we get down to 17 players, and I've got about 2x average. So the player next to me on my left is a guy named William Vo. He's a 78-year-old Chinese guy. He's been on a 10K WPT final table, the one that Pat Lyons took down. World famous Pat Lyons. He's actually a pretty cool guy. Gets a little loud and drunk sometimes at some final tables, but he knows where he's at. This isn't about Pat. This is about William Vo, 78-year-old Chinese immigrant, broken English, and very boisterous at the table. Every single time he wins a hand, he just like starts cheering. He screams out, "I love myself!" He looks at the dealer, "I love you! I love you! You are a handsome man! You are a young and handsome man!" Of course, he's saying all this in the thickest Chinese accent that you can imagine. Yeah, like, and he'll start whispering to the player next to him. You know, he's like whispering to him. So I'm sitting right next to William Vo. William Vo is one of the short stacks. You know, he's got like 80, 90,000 in front of him. And the blinds at this point are 4 and 8. So he's got like 12 bigs. You know, I've got about 28 big blinds. So I'm looking pretty good. His hand goes down. So basically, I get drawn. Well, let me just explain what happens. So his hand goes down where the pretty tight player, we'll just call him Super Net, makes the raise. And it's William Vo's small blind. I'm on the button. Now, rewind about 2 hands. William Vo gave me a little one of these and whispered to me again in like very, very broken old man Chinese that I could not really pick up, but he said something to the order of, "If it gets to our big blind and small blind, you check, I check." I don't know if like exactly what he said, but it was kind of along those lines that, like, you know, you do whatever you're gonna do. But I'm not about to like be like, "Hell no, I'm going hard against you," but I'm also not like agreeing to like be soft playing this guy. Okay, so I figure if it comes down to it, if the big blind and the small blind if I'm in the small blind, I look down and he's got 10 or 11 bigs, all in, you know. And if he thinks that we're, you know, friends. that's actually okay because it'll get through most of the time. I'm fine with that. He can think that I'm not going to make a move. I'm fucking making moves. You know, but whatever. So this nit, he makes the raise. I look down, I have ace jack of diamonds on the button. Okay, 17 left, it pays 15. 15 is like $864. And first place is like 14,000, right? I'm looking at ace jack of diamonds, and I'm kind of thinking about what to do. I know this guy's very tight. I know that like he hasn't really opened much. I also know that he's probably looking at his stack at this point, thinking that this would probably be a good time to open up. And he's right. You know, if I was in his spot, I would be opening light. Ace jack of diamonds is a pretty big monster against whatever he... What? What's going on? Oh my gosh. William Vo, 78-year-old Chinese man, is now hitting my knee with his knee. As in a... Make the fold. Make the fold. I'm going to go all in. He doesn't say that, but it's basically like that's what he's doing. You know? And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then he looks at his hand in a way that it's obvious that he wants me to see what he's got. Now, normally, if a player is looking at their whole cards and I can see it, I'll look. But I didn't this time. I was like, you know, this is actually kind of weird, and I feel uncomfortable here. And I'm looking at ace jack of diamonds. I was thinking about making a move. Obviously, now that thought is gone. And I'm thinking, did I just get pulled into some sort of little collusion deal with William Vo here? This is kind of uncomfortable. I fold. He immediately goes all in. Yeah, and the opener is very happy about this because he turns over aces and makes the call. William Vo turns over his pocket sevens and proceeds to bust himself out. He gets up. He's very polite, very friendly to everybody. I mean, he's wearing a watch that's worth more than second place, and he plays in 10K and 5K tournaments regularly, from what I understand. He's not playing for the money. He's playing because he enjoys the atmosphere and the camaraderie. And, you know, he actually took the beat very well and wished everybody luck. He's walking away, and this all happened in the space of about 20 seconds. And so he's away from the table, and the dealer puts the deck in the shuffler and hits the button. And I'm like, you know, I kind of feel a little uncomfortable about something, I say to the dealer. You know, during that hand, I looked down, I had ace jack of diamonds. By the way, I would have made Broadway. I mean, not that it matters, it's result-oriented thinking. But if, for some reason, I decided that, hey, this is a good move, all in, call, fuck, it would have actually turned out gravy for me. But that's besides the point, okay? I'm looking at the dealer, I'm saying, John, I feel a little uncomfortable because William Vo here was nudging to me under the table, indicating his interest in the hand. I feel like I got drawn into something that I'm not really comfortable with. Basically, I'm confessing to all of you, and John, you know, you're pretty much my priest here. I want you to know that this happened. And everyone's kind of like, well, like what now, right? And John's like, well, do you want me to call Andy over? And I'm like, well, I mean, not really. You know, the guy just busted himself out. The guy just donked off his stack on the bubble. He's good for the game. He's pretty hopeless at poker. And like, what do I want to happen? I mean, like, it already happened. You know, I don't really want. Like, what do I want? For him to get a ban from the Venetian? No, of course not. Not only do I think that it's kind of unwarranted for that kind of player, but I also kind of feel like, you know, he's an old man. Just, you know, he's trying to enjoy the twilight of his life. You know, he's a stranger in a strange land. No one can understand a single word he says. But he has a... You know, it's all coming from a good place. Just let him be, you know. But at the same time, it's just like, like, what the fuck? Okay, so anyway. So we come back to the table. 16 left. The other table is just full of short stacks. All the big stacks are at our table. I've got about 2x about 250K, average is about 140K, and I'm feeling great. You know, shorty. Big stack that I'm not worried about. Big stack, you know, I can stay out of their hair. They're not going to be trying to go after, you know, after my spots. And there's 3 short stacks to my left. It's really the perfect position for me. I look over at the table, and it's just a whole table of short stacks, except one pretty big stack is about to get moved to our table. So one of the short stacks, a guy who had, you know, I'd been playing with a little bit, who had been folding his way to, I don't know what, you know, but he's folding his way to here. He comes over, and you know, he's just like really trying to push. He's like, hey guys, listen, do you want to maybe do a bubble save? Because everybody here at this table, we've all agreed that if you guys are down to do a bubble save, we don't have to play hand for hand anymore, and we can all just lock in the win. And I'm looking at my stack, and I'm looking at them, and I'm thinking, you know, I not for nothing, but I do have 3 World Series of Poker bracelets. If I feel like I wanted to just give away what would be about $50, $60 in equity, you know, if I felt like just giving $60 away to somebody, I think that I would probably give it away to not one of those guys at that table. You know, I think that I could probably do something better with that. So I am going to go ahead and veto it. And I didn't say all that. The conversation went like this. Hey, what do you guys think about a bubble save? No. Because we all agreed, no, veto. Look, where I'm standing, it's not so much about being worried about making min cash or not. It's looking at my stack and thinking, I need this bubble pressure. Because as long as the bubble is right there, I can pick up these blinds and I can pick up these antes with pretty much impunity. You know, and you know, ICM rears its ugly head. The big stacks have a huge advantage. You know, and the short stacks and the medium stacks are just kind of handcuffed. You know, they're basically, you know, put in the corner. So I don't want to do a deal. I don't want the bubble to last forever until I have all the chips and everybody has one big blind. That's my plan. You know, so no, I'm gonna have to veto that. Clock starts. Here we go. I look down. What do I see? Pocket kings. It's beautiful. The guy who just got moved to our table is the huge stack. He's wearing this. He's wearing like this hoodie with like a dragon face on it that like reminded me of Bowser. He's really jovial and jolly when he sits down, you know, and he's really excited to be making the money, and you know, he's really excited to be there. I'm just happy to be there. I'm just really happy to be here, making friends and making, you know, playing poker, making money, and having a big stack in front of me. I'm like, you know, I can relate, and I'm, you know, that's the kind of, you know, my impression of this guy. And I look down at pocket kings, and he's in the big blind. So I make the raise to 26. We're playing 612 with a 2,000 ante, so 2K, 612, 3-to-1 ratio on the Stone Cold bubble, and I'm feeling really good. And I'm thinking, pocket kings, make the raise, folds around to him, all in. He's immediately like, all in. And it's like, all in for 26, you know, 26 bigs. He's got me covered by maybe 2 big blinds. And I'm like, this is beautiful. This is great. He obviously doesn't have aces, because if he had aces, he would him and haw a little bit. He would do a little Hollywood act. You know, he obviously doesn't want me to call. So he probably has queens or ace-king. And I'm in pretty good shape. I make the call. I call. And I turn off my kings. And he's about to turn over his hand, but the floor is like, no, don't turn over your hand yet. And I'm like, yeah, okay. He doesn't look happy, you know. He's not happy with his hand. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is good. I'm going to double through this joker. You know, they got to make sure that table doesn't know that there's an all-in and a call over here. They don't, you know, they need to make sure that hand is finished. Okay, go ahead with this hand. And he turns over aces. And he looks at me, and he's like looking at me. And he gets up off the table and he starts sweating it with his aces against my kings. And I'm like, you know you have aces, right? And he's like, come on, dealer, one time, keep it low. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Keep it low. And the dealer like whips out the flop and starts turning me. He's like, no! Oh, good. And I realized that he was worried that the queen that he saw was, since it's a face card, it must have, nope, it's fine. It's a queen 3-3, so he's in great shape. The turn is a jack, and he's like, no king, dealer, no king, please, no king. And I'm just like in shock, you know. I'm like, wow, this is happening. I'm gonna be the bubble boy. King, nope. No, it wasn't a king. It was nothing. It was a 7. And I'm out. And he stands up. He's like, oh, thank you. Thank you. I really didn't want you to call. I really didn't want you to call. I'm like, why wouldn't you want me to call? You have aces. You know, like, I say that. Why wouldn't you want me to call? You have aces. Like, it's something that seems absurd to me. I'm not even upset. I'm not even angry. I'm the bubble boy. But it seems like, you know, like I'm just kind of in shock that this just happened. You know, like 60 seconds ago, the shorties over there were begging for this bubble save. And I know what's going to happen, you know. Of course it's going to happen. I get up, you know. Congratulations, players. You are now in the money. The whole table over there just starts clapping. Yay! It was one guy, the guy who came by and like suggested the bubble save. He's like, you see, man? You see what happens when you veto, when you don't do a deal? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I do. I guess that when you don't do a deal, you get into a situation to have 5 times the average chips with kings against some joker in a second-grade hoodie. You know, I guess when you don't do that deal, you get yourself in a position to win the whole shebang. Or sometimes you're walking out the door. Because that's usually what's going to happen on those bubble situations. Now, I fucked up a lot of bubbles in my life. This is not a mess up, right? When you're in a bubble situation, what's supposed to happen is either one of the shorties leave, or one of the kind of bigger stacks get into a spat with another big stack. You know, the big ICM disaster is when you're kind of in the middle, when you're in 15 out of 16 or 14 out of 16 and they're paying 15, when you're like 12th or 11th, when so much of your expected value in that tournament is wrapped up in the in that small min cash, whereas when you are a big stack, your expected value is not really that wrapped up in the min cash. Your expected value is a little heavier, and you can really take advantage of that bubble play. So I don't feel like I, messed up this bubble by letting myself get knocked out by, one of the other 2 stacks at the table that could do it. I'm never folding kings there, obviously, you know, and like even if I could have found that hero fold, I wouldn't have in this case, just because he looked like he was so uncomfortable and didn't want to call, which it turns out that he really didn't. He was scared that he was going to bubble. And it's like, okay, so the whole table's cheering. You see what happens, man? This brings me to a side note. I want to talk a little bit about deals, okay? And why I think that in poker tournaments, deals shouldn't be allowed to happen in the first place. So I know that what you're going to say. You're going to say, Dutch, it's our money. We should be able to do whatever we want. And deals are good. Deals are a good thing because it allows you to lower variance. It allows you to flatten out the payout schedule. We know that the payouts are so top-heavy. That's not good for anybody. You're right. I'm all for flatter payouts. I'm all for that. What I'm not for is a situation where deals are kind of put into in front of the players where, first off, it encourages more experienced players like myself to really take advantage of weak players who are new. Weak players who are new don't understand that if you have a chip lead, you should not be getting first place money. It reminds me of a deal that my little brother made at my brother Bobby made in Aruba, where they were 6-handed. He had 50% of the chips, and they all wanted to chop it up. And he wouldn't do it. He was like, well, I have all the chips. I guess if you wanted to give me first, then I would be willing to, agree to a chop. And one by one, they all agreed. Now, how is that a good thing, really, to allow a casino to, let the good players really take advantage of weaker players? That's just one aspect of it. But a couple more important aspects and why deals are bad for poker tournaments is, number 2, it encourages this kind of collusion. Because if somebody is vetoing a deal, all of a sudden the whole table will kind of try to gang up on them, and it encourages situations where it's basically 6 guys at the table against 1 person at the table who who is refusing the deal. So it encourages kind of soft play between those players. It encourages a feeling of all of us against one, which not only is unhealthy for the game, but can lead to really kind of unethical situations to pop up. Situations where, that player and that player really should have been all in on that flop, but instead they are slow playing and basically soft playing each other because they know that as long as they remain in and this guy who's the nixer, who's the vetoer, is the first one out, that they're going to all go home happy. So it encourages kind of a collusion feeling, which is unhealthy for the game. More so, you'll see this when you're down to, say, 4 players or 3 players and no deal is discussed because there's 2 solid pros at the table and 1 very bad recreational player. And then as soon as he gets knocked out, all of a sudden a deal happens. That is very bad for the game because it makes that recreational player feel like those 2 players were in cahoots. I never had a chance. They were playing together anyway. They chopped the money up in the, right in front of me as soon as I got knocked out. That's not healthy. It's not healthy for the game. I remember, I feel like this is one situation where the Epic Poker League, back when Annie Duke was running that project, she actually got this right. When we made the final table in event number 2, I believe, she gathered us all in the room and she made it very clear that if anybody had pieces of themselves, they needed to say it right then and there to everybody else. And if it was later revealed that there were swaps that weren't made public right there in the room, that there would be disqualifications, and that no deals and no swaps were going to be permitted at that final table. And I think that that's generally a good policy. So anyway, I don't know. When it comes to like everybody trying to make a deal, I don't even understand. Like, what's the whole point of even showing up? I hear these weird stories of like 32-man deals where like they get down to the final 4 tables and everybody in the tournament agrees to just chop up the money. I mean, if that's what you want to do, why not just skip it? How about just show up to the tournament, and then we all make a deal in level 1, and we all walk away with our buy-in minus the fee, and we all tip the dealer in their floor for their time. It's absurd. It's ludicrous. So the guys cheering, that's what you get. I was like, yeah, good job, man, good job. You min cashed. I'm happy for you. Now you can play 2 of these. Maybe now that I'm out, maybe you can do a 15-way deal. And they didn't. They didn't do a 15-way deal. Instead, they did an 8-way deal. 8-way deal. This is the grind. This is the second tournament of my summer. This is my series. Tomorrow I play again Saturday, I play again Sunday, and stuff like this is going to happen over and over and over. Yeah, by the way, somebody got disqualified from the Venetian today. Side note, I guess he was super plastered, super hammered, drunk off his ass. And he came in during the break and just picked out $5K in chips from his neighbor's stack and put them in his own stack. And so he got disqualified for that, as he should. Got 86 from the Venetian. The whole time it's happening, he's completely slobbering drunk. I don't, I can kind of understand. I was talking to the people next to him. I was like, sometimes, you get so drunk you don't know where you're at. You get so drunk, you think that your bookshelf is your bathroom. And then it's a really awkward day the next day when you're donating a bunch of books to Goodwill. Maybe he didn't know where he was. Maybe he didn't know what stack was his. Maybe I don't know. Weird things going on. This is the grind. Thanks for listening. And hey, thanks again for watching my new vlog. If you're enjoying it, make sure to click on the subscribe button, and hopefully I'll be doing a lot more of these all through the summer as I try to grind through this World Series of Poker coming up. Add to the bracelet count, and hopefully put a little bit of money in the bank. We'll see you later.